Hi, Monica, and welcome to the show today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's amazing. It's between Denmark and Hawaii today. It's such
Right?
a long way, and we're connecting here, and I'm so glad that we managed.
Yeah, it's amazing. You're finishing your day, and I'm literally just starting my day.
Yeah, I just put the kids down, and it always gives me a new sense of relief. I don't know, I don't have that during the day or in the morning, so I'm super chilled.
Yeah, it's an
And
amazing time.
yeah. I'm so glad that you are willing to talk about this very important topic today that is quite close to my heart. I mean, just thinking about it, I get goosebumps. We are talking today fertility and everything that comes with it. So I know that you're a
Yeah.
fertility coach, right?
Yes, I am. I am a holistic functional fertility health coach. So we take lots of different approaches to really help women get back in tune with their fertility, because obviously when you're dealing with fertility issues, something's amiss, right? It's not one of those things. It doesn't just happen to women. There's something going on, and my job is to help you discover what that is.
So when you say in tune, tell me more about that. What do you mean?
Yeah, so I think a lot of women nowadays are just really disconnected, right? We didn't like over here in America, and I would say in a lot of Western societies, they didn't really teach us about our menstrual cycles, about our fertility health, and how it's very much connected to our overall health, right? For a lot of us, we've been told that, oh, it's just that just happens to women. Oh, you just have painful periods. That's just what it is. Or a lot of women are being told that irregular cycles are normal.
Mm.
And here, just go on birth control, or there's nothing you can do about it. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And once you get in tune with how your body is supposed to work for you, because everyone is different and we are dealing with different genetics, different, issues like PCOS, endometriosis, things like that. So once you get in tune of like, oh, this is how my body is supposed to work when I'm taking care of it and when I'm, de-stressing, eating a good diet for me, finding the things that I need to do to help reverse some of these issues that either I didn't know were issues, or I got put on the birth control at a young age and just started living life again. And I was living a certain way, wanted to have children, came off the birth control, and all of a sudden I have all these issues where it's not really the birth control's fault. It's just the birth control is a big band-aid, and it doesn't allow your body to expose the issues because it's literally hijacked your system.
Mm. So it's not only about really fertility, it's the holistic way of how we experience our body as a woman. I
Yes,
I
100%.
realized that for the first time since I just opened my practice 1 year ago, and before that I had a corporate job and I was just go 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 go, a super hustling attitude. And then all of a sudden I had to slow down and I had to work with my body, but I didn't even know how. I had
Yeah.
this cycle that I was not aware of. And I'm 38 years old, I have two kids, and I was not aware of that. I had to dig into what is my energy cycle throughout the month and work with it instead of, you know, blaming myself for not having the energy that I thought I should have, but it's just not
Hmm.
possible. So I mean, where do kids, it's almost like, when we're 12, 15, 18, this is what we all should actually know about. Where do kids and young adults get that information? How can we help them to have a better
um,
start in their adult life?
yeah, I think TikTok. I don't know. Like, I honestly, like, everyone says that I have honestly learned more about history on TikTok than I ever did in school. I actually went viral on TikTok, just sharing my own experience about how the same conversation. we were never taught in school about anything. Like I saw more penises than I did vaginas, right? Like we needed, the male anatomy was like more shown than the female anatomy. And so, so until I started dealing with fertility issues, I didn't even know what ovulation was. I didn't know that you could literally only get pregnant when you ovulate. And when you ovulate, that egg is only alive for 48 hours. So when you're having regular cycles for you, anywhere from 27 to 35 days, there's only a small chance of you getting pregnant, and you got to time that pregnancy. And so I went viral saying like, you can only get pregnant these times. And oh my gosh, the people in the comments were like, this is not true. You can get pregnant any time of the month. Like, this is false information. Like, teen pregnancy is going to go up. Like, they just went ballistic. And I actually took about a week and a half answering questions for teenage girls who were genuinely like wondering, like, is this true? I'm like, yeah, here, let's sit down and let's talk about ovulation. And like, even one girl, and I'm not laughing at her, like it's just like a nervous like tick, I think, me laughing, but she was like, well, if this was true, why do you take birth control all month? And I was like, really? Okay, let's sit down and like I will teach you why you take birth control all month, right? And so we went through the cycles and how like there's a placebo pill and all that. And it was like, this is ridiculous that our doctors who are literally putting these women on these medication, because they're women, right? I mean, I know they're young women, but they're still women. They don't have the information about their bodies that they need to make educated decisions for themselves. And it was like a really like big wake up call. I mean, obviously I know with like functional fertility, a lot of people don't get it because you see unhealthy people all the time get pregnant. You see people who are stressed out to the max get pregnant. So that disconnect of like, well, why can't I do that? I was like, well, your body's just not set up for that. But for majority of people not to know the basics is why we're in the situation we are with increasing numbers of infertility. I would even go as far to say autoimmune issues, diabetes, all these health issues, because our periods are like the fifth vital sign. When you're in tune with your body and what is when you're feeling the best, you can, right? Like, we're going to have up and down days. It's not about perfection. But like for me, I know what my best feels like. And when I start deviating from that, like in a way that's affecting me, I'm like, okay, something's going on with my health. What is going on? And so just recently, I started getting like my PMS symptoms back. I was like really lethargic. I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm a health coach. Like, I know this stuff. And so I was like, okay, maybe I've destroyed my gut health with the stress. So like, having 2 young kids, it's stressful being a stay-at-home mom. I was homeschooling my boy last year, COVID, all those things. And so worked on my stress levels, got those down. I stopped drinking alcohol, like full stop. I was like, right, not even a little bit, because I know 1 glass can destroy my gut microbiome, and I know I'm susceptible to gut issues, so I'll stop that. And I still just wasn't. And I went to get a specific supplement from a store, and the woman there was very knowledgeable and a little woo-woo. And she was like, well, why do you want that supplement? I was like, told her my story. She's like, let's muscle test. And muscle testing is a way for your body to tell you kind of what is going on. And so she's like, well, you have your thyroid's sluggish. And I was like, how is that possible? Like, I'm doing everything right. She's like, well, you live in Hawaii. It's the #1 state in America for thyroid cancer. And she just rattled off a few environmental things that happen in Hawaii that I have no control over. And I just was susceptible to it, and it made my thyroid a little bit sluggish. And so I got on the right supplementation, and obviously I'm taking care of my health and just giving my thyroid the support it needs. So having that knowledge behind me was so important, because if I would have just gone to the doctor, they would have been like, oh, you're a 40-year-old mom of 2 young boys. That's just life.
Yeah.
So going back to where we get the education, unless you live in a country or have access to functional medicine doctors or practitioners or coaches that can help lead you down the right path, you're really going to have to do the research on your own. And we do live in a day and age where that is possible through Google, through TikTok. There's, amazing doctors have written books, and it's really just about self-education and getting into the right communities that aren't going to be like, you have to be perfect. You have to do this, well, we're going to live life, but let's be aware that we are just in a time of day where there's so many factors outside of our control and things that we can control. And it is sometimes a full-time job to figure all this out.
It is.
But it is.
You do that as a job.
Yeah.
If I would just imagine, I would need to Google all of that, and not only to read the information, but to make sense of it, and then to know what are the right steps for me when I'm totally disconnected from my entire internal world. I can only imagine how challenging that is, and have that stress in mind, or that burden of, I want a baby so badly, and I'm trying, and I need this to work. So I think it's so hard.
Yeah. And that's why, all the information that I have in my head is literally out on the internet for free. Like, you can find anything for free. But to really collapse that timeline and to help with the stress, am I doing it right? That's why you want to join like a group coaching program with a live aspect of a coach, or work one-to-one, because we take the time, right? Not only like have I done it myself for over a decade and I've learned all the knowledge, and I'm still learning because everything's always evolving, but that's one of my superpowers. And that I think that's a really amazing aspect about coaches, is because they take the time to get to know you. They ask specific questions that your doctor will never ask you, right? They want to know your stats, your blood work, your age, and they hyper focus on all these things. And I'm over here asking questions of like, well, why do you think you're type A? And like, oh, well, as a child, this. I'm like, okay, well, let's start there, because you got to get to the root cause of why you are the way you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I just recently attended an online webinar of a leading fertility clinic here in Denmark. I also work with fertility issues and supporting women with their mental health that undergo, fertility struggles. And there was one participant who asked, so besides everything that you offer, like all these different IVF programs, what is it that I can do to support that process best? So I heard that she wants to be empowered, and she wants to be able to do something to achieve that dream, and not just give herself to the doctors and just wait for the egg extraction, the IVF, and the implantation. She wanted to know what she could do. And the doctor literally said, well, besides, just sleeping well and eating well, there's nothing really you can do. I was blown away. And I felt so sorry for this woman. And I think so many women need just to know that there's so much more they can do. And there is a way to support your body. And Monica, I would like to hear, how did you actually enter in this whole world? How did you get into that?
Well, basically the same reason why that woman, was asking that question. I was 27. I'll give you the cliff notes because it's a really long journey, but 27, nothing. So they're like, okay, try IVF at 30. So we tried IVF. And I quit drinking. That was like the only thing that I did, because I didn't think there was anything wrong other than not getting pregnant. And the IVF exposed that I was really unhealthy and that I was making really bad egg quality. And so our embryos were extremely bad quality. And because my husband's sperm was fine, it was down to me. It was your egg quality. So when we went back for like, what's the next step appointment? They call it the WTF appointment. The doctor, we're like, well, what can we do differently? And he's like, nothing. And we're like, well, you're not going to even change up like our medicines? And he's like, no. He's like, just try it again. And I don't know why that didn't sit well with either me or my husband. Like, we knew nothing about health and wellness or any of that. But we're like, that doesn't sound right. So we're like, okay, we're not going to do it. We don't know what we're going to do, but that's not what we're going to do. And we were living in the UK at the time. And I just remember sitting in Hyde Park with a friend who was going on his own personal health journey. He's like, you got to change your diet. And we're like, what? Like, we're not fat. We're not overweight. We don't have diabetes. We don't have any of these normal health issues that you would associate with maybe needing to change your diet. He's like, just try it. He's like, he was so passionate about it. He's like, I'll pay for your health coach. And we're like, no, you're not going to pay, but we'll take your advice. And so we both ended up changing our diets. We basically went paleo, and we saw amazing health improvements in the both of us. Mental clarity, PMS symptoms went away, achy joints, like loads of improvement, but I still wasn't getting pregnant. So we decided to try another round of IVF after a year.
But tell me, sorry if I interrupt you, for those listeners who don't know what is paleo diet, tell us briefly what this is. How does your diet look like?
Yeah, so a paleo diet just basically eliminates like a lot of high sugars, gluten, dairy, and maybe soy, but just kind of, I would say, like all the box stuff, like, like the chips, the like granola bars, like you just really start looking at labels. So, but yeah, the main foods it eliminates is the gluten, dairy, and like lots of high like sugars. And so, yeah, the second IVF, we got better embryos. So we saw this like massive improvement, but I still didn't get pregnant. Even with like a top grade embryo, I didn't even make it to day 28. And I had already been on the quest of autoimmune issues, and we got talked out of it because I wasn't having recurring miscarriages. I wasn't presenting as a normal autoimmune like patient. And so we demanded the testing, and then that's when it came back that I had high natural killer cells. So what everyone has natural killer cells. It's your body's defense against the flu, against the virus, against anything like an infection, anything. You need those killer cells to go in, do their job, and then they go back down. When you're dealing with high inflammation and lots of oxidative stress, those natural killer cells just keep going up. And this is why autoimmune issues are on the rise, because a lot of people, their guts are leaky. Food particles are getting into the bloodstream that shouldn't be there, and their immune system is attack. And there's other issues too, other reasons why. And with fertility, why this is so impactful on the body is that, one, it messes up your hormones. It causes low egg quality because even though doctors don't believe that you can improve your egg quality, which I don't know if they'll ever do studies to prove this, but your egg is one of the largest cells in your body. Now, for some reason, they think that that cell is completely disconnected to your body, which it's not. It obviously lives in your body, and they know they mature. Eggs take 3 months to mature. So they're a live, living, growing cell. And when your body is full of inflammation, those cells are going to react to their environment. So they're not going to have the nutrients. They're not going to have everything they need to thrive, right? The rest of your body is just trying to survive.
Yeah.
So your eggs are developing in this like environment. So they're just not going to develop well. So you have that going on. And then in my case, and for people who are dealing with recurring miscarriages as well, or, uterine issues, is that there's just so much inflammation in the body that your body can't prep yourself for a successful pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And then my body was actually attacking the embryos before they would implant, and they would just straight away attack it.
Okay.
And so a fetus is part of your body until 12 weeks when the placenta takes over. So this is why miscarriage is a higher risk until 12 weeks. So we had some frozen embryo transfers. We used immune suppressing drugs. I got pregnant 3 times. I had 2 miscarriages and 1 live birth. So our first son is our IVF baby. But during this time, using the medical assistance, I kept going deeper, and I found out that I was highly intolerant to foods like nightshades, which is like paprika, tomatoes, potatoes, aubergines. There's a lot of them. So I went on an autoimmune paleo diet, which eliminates the nightshades, nuts and seeds, legumes, eggs could even be on it. And I did that for a while, and I figured out what my food intolerances were, and then introduced loads back in. And 2 months after my second miscarriage, I got pregnant naturally with our second son.
Oh my God.
So when I got pregnant naturally, this is when I had already trained in a modality called Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Practitioner, which really just looks at gut health, endocrine system, mental and emotional, like really just addresses the whole body as one. So even though I call myself a fertility health coach, like the steps that I take can help anyone. I just want to work with women who are dealing with fertility issues because I know their pain, right? Like I know their path. I can talk IVF with them. I can talk IUI. I can really help them, like the work you probably do. It's that inner power, right? Like help them stand tall in their truth. And they're talking to me. They're following me on social media for a reason. And it's following that intuition. And that's all I did in my journey. I followed my intuition. And when I didn't follow my intuition, I got burnt. And when I followed my intuition, I won. And I think that's the hardest part about this journey is like, that doctor doesn't know what he's talking about. You know your body, there's something that you can do. And so after I got pregnant, naturally, I was like, this is what I need to do. I just need to create a health business that empowers women to be the conscious mamas that they were born to be. And it's really rewarding, like really, really rewarding.
Yeah, and you bring all of that passion and everything you have learned on your own journey into that. I think that is really, the decisive factor to make a difference. It's not just a business. It's not. It's not just opening the door in the morning and close it in the evening. It's you.
Yeah.
So,
And it's before I did this, I actually worked in early education for 20 years. And I thought that was my mission in life, I love kids and, help them grow and evolve. And when I changed into fertility, it kind of came to me of like, I get to access these kids before they're even born. I get to give them a better life because their moms are going to be healthy. They're going to be healthier. Their moms are going to be these conscious mamas that are going to break the cycle of the trauma of the not having the knowledge, right? If they're not learning it in school, well, I'm going to teach you about your bodies. Like, I have 2 boys, so I don't have any girls, but my boys know what a vagina is compared to a penis. They, like we don't hide these things and know where babies come from. We haven't had the sex talk, but, like I just want them to be really aware
Mm.
of their bodies and stand tall in their sexuality
Yeah.
in a comfortable way, right? Where I think a lot of us were just like shrunk down, like, ooh, don't talk about nudity, don't talk about this. You know, you don't even have to go to the sex talk. It's really just being like, we're humans with body parts, right? Like, this is
It's
what
the
it
most
is.
normal thing. And if
Yeah.
you raise conscious boys, they will be supportive husbands, partners.
Yeah,
They will be
exactly.
supportive fathers. So it does break the cycle of just shutting up and don't follow your gut instinct when the doctor says, no, let's just keep on doing what we're doing, even though it didn't work, but we just continue
Yeah.
doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
there are plenty of couples who go through a very tough time with each other because they're not on board with each other, right? Because the husband doesn't properly understand what the woman is going through and vice versa. So I love that you are so aware of how you know talk about these things with your boys, and age appropriate way, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important.
We had a conversation at the airport, my son and me. He's 5, and he asked me all of a sudden while we're queuing to enter the plane, "Mommy, where did I get out of your body? Like, where's it?" We speak 4 languages, and I chose to explain it to him in a language that no one else understands.
Yeah.
But he asked the questions in the most non-judgmental way, like
Yeah.
practically speaking, where did I exit your body, you know?
Yeah.
And I could have told him, oh, we're not talking about that, or you're not old enough for this. And when you're old enough, we're going to talk about to make all these, you know, woo-woo things around a topic that
Right.
he, you know, and now he knows.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think it's so important. I had 2 emergency C-sections, so I have a scar across my belly, and my boys see it, and we've talked about it. And they're like, "Do all babies come out that way?" I was like, "Nope, some come out the vagina." And they're like, "Really? Where?" I'm like, "We'll cover that one later."
So Monica, if people want to reach you, if they don't yet follow you, where can they find you, and how can they initiate, you know, contact with you? I'm sure that it resonates with many listeners what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'm at Finding Fertility everywhere on Instagram, TikTok, my website's Finding Fertility, YouTube. Yeah, I'm just Finding Fertility everywhere.
That's perfect. I will put all your links in the caption of this episode. And I have one last question.
Yeah.
If there is one advice you could give based on your personal journey, but also based on your experience working with all these women and couples, what would you tell them?
Yeah, the first thing I would tell them is get in touch with your intuition. Your body will tell you what is right and what is wrong for you, right? I just had a one-to-one client from Canada go to the US to do IVF, and it was a shambles, and it kept continuing every day, just not being the experience or, you know, the path that she felt she should have been on. But because all of these external factors like money and time off work and all these things were like, but I've already invested all this in. I was like, I can't answer these questions for you. What does your intuition tell you about this? Like, take away the external factors, like the money's gone, the time is gone, you can't get those back. Does your intuition tell you that you should move forward with this procedure in the state that you are in right now? And I think that is a gift that only you can give yourself, and just trust that even though it might not feel like, well, I should have just like, you know, your body will tell you what is right and what is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you even look back at your life now and remember the times that you had those gut feelings, or like you didn't sense something, and if you chose to listen or if you chose not to listen, what was the result? And I think we all have that in different ways, right? And so it's really just about being in tune, and then all the steps that you have to take from there, right? The diet, the lifestyle, the finding the right doctor, finding the right coach, maybe doing IVF or not doing IVF. Those will all fall into place so much more because you are actually making decisions from your heart and your gut instead of the external things that maybe society has put on you.
Yeah. That's such great advice, and it's so much more natural and smooth than forcing things and pushing it to the limit or pushing yourself to the limit. Thanks so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Guys, if you like this episode, just give me a like and a review, and please do share this episode with anyone you think can benefit from listening to Monica's story and benefiting from the work she does. I will share all her links in the captions of this episode. Until next time at Raw and Real, Stefanie Fernandez. Bye now.